This is the problem when people give you titles. Now, if you do something one time, you're not really going to be labeled for that. But when you do things consistently, whether good or bad, let's give a good example. For example, if you're somebody that always contributes in lesson, so your hand's always up, you're always the first one to want to help out and hand the books out or whatever it may be, you will be labeled. Now, a label that a teacher may give you is the helper. So the teacher might say, "Oh, where's my helper?" and things like that. And that could have a good connotation behind it. A good, like, that could be a good label in that instance. You're somebody that's willing to learn. You're somebody that's willing to help. Now, on the flip side of that, your peers, the people that are in your class, might give you a label as well. And the label that they would may give you, goody two shoes or the teacher's pet. Your interpretation of the label that the teacher gives you and the label that your friends give you are very important because if you are helping the teacher with no agenda behind it, you're not trying to get in their good books for any other reasons, you're just doing that because that's who you are, then if your identity is secure, then how other people who are quote unquote your friends or just the people that are in your class shouldn't matter. Because as we've understood from the other videos that we've been touching on, that when other people make comments, they are actually just projecting how they feel about themselves. So they actually might want to help, but are facing resistance within themselves that doesn't actually enable them to contribute in class, to do the things that they want to do. So they're stuck. But now here's the problem with these labels, because when you're given a label, you can then feel forced to keep up with those expectations, even though the expectations haven't actually been written out, communicated, or said. When you do go into that lesson the next time, those books might not be handed out. Now the teacher might be more relaxed in terms of the start to the lesson because every time they come to the lesson, you're there handing out the books. So now there's this expectation. So then when you don't show up, you might feel bad about yourself, or you might feel like you can't just be you, even though that was something that you wanted to do. When you do it over a period of time, it creates expectation. So you now need to think about the decisions and the things that you're doing. If you just consistently do things, then people can begin to expect things from you that was never your job to do in the first place. So you've got to think about the things that you're involving yourself in and thinking about long term, can you see yourself doing this? Even if it is being helpful. Because there will be times where you don't want to do it. And that's fine. That is not a that's not your problem. So don't feel bad for not doing things that you weren't supposed to do in the first place just because you did them out of the goodness of your heart. Don't let other people put expectations on you to do things. If you're not careful, those expectations can form a part of your identity. So now you feel like you have to do certain things. And now you're almost adopting certain things into who you are when it wasn't who you was. You just wanted to do something nice. And it can start to shape how you behave. So instead of doing the thing that's true to you, you start to do the behavior based on the outcomes that followed on from what you did. So you were handing out the books and then it got certain responses, and then you now adopt that because of the responses, not because of that being who you are and what you want to do. It's a bit of a cycle that if you're not careful, you can get stuck in. So remember, it's not about performance, it's about being who you are. Authentically as well, not based on what other people are doing or how other people are doing it and the responses and the reactions that they're getting. In this context, one moment can become your reputation. Imagine if we're playing sport, we're doing PE, and every time we're doing basketball this week, and the last term that we did basketball, every time you shot, it went in. Now you have a reputation now. So now when you do get the ball, you might not want to shoot based on the reputation that you have developed for yourself. So then what was meant to be fun in terms of PE and the time to learn has now turned into a high stakes, intense situation where you might not even bring your PE kit the next week, or you might not even want to get involved too much because of the reputation now you have. Now the teacher wants to use you for demonstrations. Now the teacher wants to use you as the one to show everyone else how to do things. And now this creates more expectation, and this creates more situations and environments for you to perform. And this just builds up pressure. Always want to put yourself and be in the position where you're able to make choices. When you find yourself in a position where you are no longer able to choose what you want to do, just know that you're in trouble. And you need to reflect and figure out, hold on, what's happened here?